So I had to go back to my urologist because the berry gel that he had injected around my neuromodulators had run out. So the neuromodulators were back to trying to stab out through my skin, and once again that was very, very painful. So after some discussion, he decided that there were two options that I could have. I could either purchase some berry gel with my own money, which would cost me $3,000 every 6 months, and I would need to have it injected every 6 months, or I can see a plastic surgeon and see if a plastic surgeon would be able to help me. So I decided to go and see a plastic surgeon. So a few weeks later I saw a plastic surgeon, and he was very, very helpful. I was very impressed with him. By the end of the consultation, he had come up with two ideas. One of them was basically to cut a big flap of skin from somewhere and basically put it over the sites of the two neuromodulators to give it some padding. But this came with a lot of risks and would be a very, very big operation. And the other option was to give me liposuction and then use what they take out from the lipo and then inject that around the neuromodulator sites to try and give them some padding. The liposuction was the least invasive way to try and help me, but this came with a problem. And basically, he said that I was too thin to be able to get this done, and he would need to speak to his colleagues about this, and then he would get back to me. I had another phone consultation with the plastic surgeon, and by the end of it we had decided that we would go the liposuction route, but he would just need to find where he would be able to get enough fat from me to be able to do this, and we would discuss that in the next consultation. I'm on my way into the plastic surgeon's office on what he is calling a fat finding mission. This should be interesting. 45 minutes later, and I am out from the plastic surgeon's office. We have a game planned and a date for my surgery. So the consultation was very positive. The plastic surgeon said that he had to speak to 4 of his colleagues to get a final decision on what he was going to do, and it definitely was going to be liposuction. He explained to me how it all works and how they liposuction the areas first, then whatever comes from that gets processed, and then it is re-injected into my body. It all sounded a little bit crazy, but you know, this is just what I've got to do, because I don't think that I can take having the wires sticking out of my body all of the time. It just drives me crazy. It is so uncomfortable, and because my urologist doesn't want to take out my neuromodulators yet and put in the little ones, because everything just works so well, he really doesn't want to play with something that is working. This is the option for now, so hopefully it all works. At the end of this, I will probably have about 60% of what he will be injecting into me staying in my body, because some of it will be absorbed by your body, which is just something that happens with everybody when they get this procedure done. So in a few weeks I will be off to hospital and we'll get this done. I'm about 3/4 of the way to the hospital, and last night I nearly bailed on getting this done because I was just like, do I really need it? Am I over exaggerating this pain? What am I doing? Why am I going to put myself through this? But then after a disturbed night's sleep, and then when I got up this morning, I decided, yeah, let's just do it. And now I'm very glad that I made that decision, because the entire ride so far, I have had the wires from my neuromodulators poking through my skin, and it is so uncomfortable and so painful. So now I know why I'm doing this. Here I go, heading into the hospital. Wish me luck. Hello. I'm with it a little bit more now since I've gone through recovery, and now I'm back in my room. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect with this. Obviously I've never had liposuction before, and from all counts, that what I have heard, it hurts a lot. So I was expecting to come in back out of the anaesthetic in a massive amount of pain. But surprisingly, I wasn't. I mean, it hurt, but the thing that was the big problem was the stinging. All of the sites where the liposuction had been done were stinging something like I have never felt before, ever. It was just the weirdest sensation, and they needed to give me 4 doses of a high strength painkiller to be able to get that to dull down a little bit, which that also surprised me, because usually one little dose seems to do the trick. But oh well, we got it under control, and then once that was under control, I was able to come up to my room for the night. Another thing that I was really worried about was, generally every time I have anesthetic, my bladder just decides it's not going to work afterwards, and I get a bit of retention for what can seem like hours afterwards. But this time I needed to go to the toilet while I was in recovery, but they could only give me bedpan, and that completely failed. So then I had to hold on until I got up to the room. So I probably held on for about probably close to an hour by the end of it all. But then I went, and I was so happy. That like never happens, and it was just awesome. I didn't need to have to worry about that for the rest of the evening. So dinner for tonight is some sort of meat gravy, pumpkin, potato and broccoli with, I think that's cranberry sauce, some ice cream, some orange juice, and then I think that's vegetable soup. But I'm not allowed to eat any of that. So my dinner is a cheese and ham sandwich and a cup of coffee that I've already devoured. In true Brooke style, I have picked the ham out of the ham and cheese sandwich, and then got some of the cranberry sauce that was on the dinner plate and put that on my sandwich. Delicious. Four o'clock in the morning, and I can't sleep. I've had little bits of sleep on and off, but there's buzzers going off and people screaming, which is a bit annoying. But the most annoying thing is that this cannula is hurting me, and that's what's keeping me up. They did take off all the cords and leads that were attached to it just to make it smaller so it wasn't pulling so much, but it only helped a little bit. So bring on 6:30 when I have some more antibiotics, go through it, and then hopefully it will come out. Not that 6:30 in the morning will help me with my sleep for the night, but oh well, it doesn't matter. I just asked for some more painkillers, and then I decided that I wanted coffee, so I asked the nurse to make me coffee, and that's about it really. The pain is manageable and I can get out of bed when I need to look like a bit of a grandma doing it, but you know, it doesn't matter. And I don't really know what else to say, but I do have to say, changing into my own personal hospital gown that is not one of the hospital's own gowns, it's a great idea. These things are awesome. Look at me go! Breakfast this morning. So, looks like we've got some, that will be coffee, hot water, some apple juice, some milk, some more milk, a bread roll, some raisin toast, and lots of butter and Vegemite. How interesting. Well, I made it out of the hospital, all safe and sound. And now I am in my hotel room for the night because there is absolutely no way I will be able to drive all the way home because it is about 3.5 hours from here. So it looks like the drive home will happen tomorrow, and I'm predicting with an enormous amount of stops along the way. My day has been okay since I got out of the hospital. Of course, I'm very tired and I'm very sore, but I just push through like I always do. I have found that when I'm walking, if the surface of the ground isn't flat, I have trouble walking along all different types of ground, and that causes me pain. I also can't bend very well. That also causes me a lot of pain. But apart from those two things, they're really the big ones that are the challenge at the moment. I think that I'm doing okay. I've also found that it's quite difficult just to sit normally in a chair because I've got the two wound sites on the back of my thighs. So I'm literally just sitting on them whenever I'm just trying to sit normal. But again, sometimes I have no choice but to have to sit down. So it is what it is, and that's life at the moment. I am able to get comfortable though if I am on a bed. So I can sit on a bed relatively okay, and I can lie down and be able to turn over relatively okay, even if it does take me a few tries to get exactly where I need to be going. But I will, and I always do, get there in the end. Well, it's day 3, but it's not even 48 hours since I had my surgery. I am currently on my way home, which will be about a 3.5 hour drive. I think I'm about halfway there. I've already had to stop once, and now I really did need to stop and go for a bit of a walk because I needed coffee. I needed coffee really badly. So that's what I got. And I can basically feel it running through my veins. I just needed that so much to be able to get me through this trip. I'm pretty sure that everything is starting to swell at the moment because where the fat has gone around my implants in my bottom, that seems to be very puffy, and it is very, very sore to be able to lie on or even sit with the back of the chair hitting the area. And then there's the area on the back of my thighs, or sort of inner thighs, and that also seems a bit swollen. So basically just doing anything is really painful at the moment, and it is a bit of a struggle, but I've got to get home, and the only way to get home is for me to drive. So here we go. Here is this journey, but hopefully it will be over soon. It is now 8 days after my surgery and I'm just about to go back into the plastic surgeon's office so I can see the nurse. Hopefully she will take off all of the dressings that I've got, and I think that there's stitches underneath, so hopefully they will all come out too. We'll just have to see what happens. I am just waiting for the nurse now. So 1 hour later and I'm finally out of the nurse's office. There was some good news and there was some bad news. So the good news was that I was able to get the dressings changed, and they changed them to waterproof dressings instead of water resistant, which means I'm able to have a proper shower and I can actually wash my hair in the shower instead of having to do it over the sink. The bad news was that the stitches are still in and they have to stay in for at least another 5 days, where they hope that they will start to dissolve them. But me being me and knowing from previous experience, my body doesn't dissolve stitches, so most likely in about 5 days I'll need to go and get somebody to take out the stitches for me. So we will just have to wait and see what happens.